Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Darian and today I'm going to be doing the January book tag. So this tag was created by none other than Jan from Jan Agaton. We all know her, we all love her. I think this is the third time I'm doing her tag. I find it such a great tag to do at the beginning of the year because there's so many end of year like videos and tags that people do, but there aren't a lot of like beginning of the year videos. So I just love this tag and I love Jan and I'm just happy to do it again. By the way, this is the first video I'm filming since getting my wisdom teeth out. I am like basically back to normal in terms of my face. I had very big cheeks for a little bit, but I think they're pretty much normal now. But this side of my mouth is still pretty sore, so if it looks like I'm talking a little bit weird, that's why, because it just hurts more on this side. But just wanted to say that in case I look different or anything. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the questions. So the first question is, what was the last and the first book that you read last year? So the last book I finished in 2023 was The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer, I think is the author. I did read this in my last Vlogmas vlog. I thought it'd be a nice book to finish the year off because it was short and I only had a few days left in the year to read it, and it seemed like a cozy type read, and it was pretty cozy. It also had some dark themes. It basically follows this author who wrote this beloved children's series, but no one has heard from him for like 6 years after he's been writing books like almost every year for the past like 20 years or so. And then all of a sudden he announces that he has written a new book and there's only one copy in existence, and he's going to invite a few people to his island where they will play games and stuff to fight for the chance to win this sole copy of his book, and then they could do whatever they want with it. And our main character is invited to participate, and she really wants to win because she is quite poor and she is really hoping to adopt this boy, but she does not have the money or the stability. So she's hoping to win the book, and her plan is to sell it, and then she'll be able to adopt this little boy. And it's fairly cozy. I liked it quite a lot. I gave it 4 stars. So it was a nice way to end the year. And then the first book I read in 2023 was Now Is Not the Time to Panic by Kevin Wilson. I read this for my reading the winners and losers of the Goodreads Choice Awards vlog for last year. And yes, I am working on it. Slowly but surely, I'm working on that for this year as well. Well, I guess technically last year, but that was the book that got the least amount of votes in the fiction category for the 2022 Goodreads Choice Awards. And I remember liking it, but it was really short. I don't remember that much about it. I think I gave it 4 stars. So it's not like I started the year off with a bang or anything. I kind of started it with a not super memorable read, but I did like it, and I definitely want to read more of Kevin Wilson's books. The next question is, what is my first read this year? And actually the first book I finished this year was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. I might be reading it for a video. You can probably guess which one, but yeah, I read that for a video, so my thoughts will come in that video whenever I'm done with it. But that was the first book I finished this year. So the next question is to share 3 of your reading goals for this year. So I do have a video talking about like looking back on my reading in 2023 as well as my goals for 2024, but a few goals that I mentioned in that video were to read 100 books. That was my goal for last year. I did not meet it, but this year I am determined to read 100 books. It's gonna happen. If it only happens once in my life, that's fine, but I want it to happen once, and it's gonna be this year. I've decided. Another goal was to explore more genres because the past few years I've been slowly branching out into more genres, but then when you look at like my end of year stats, it's always like mainly fantasy and then like contemporary and romance and then like a little bit of other genres here and there. But I really want to read more mystery thrillers. I want to read more horror. I just want to get into different genres and find what I like within those genres, you know? And then I think I forgot to mention this in my goals video, but I want to read mostly backlist titles in 2024 because in 2023 most of the books I read were books released in 2023, and I think that's something I do almost every year, is that I kind of get all excited about the new releases and what's being talked about in the moment, and so I only focus on the books that were just put out instead of like the hundreds of other books on my TBR that have been on my TBR for years. The books from 2020, 2021, even earlier than that. I have so many probably amazing books on my bookshelves that I have owned for like 2-3 years now, and I just haven't gotten to them yet because they're not the newest thing on my shelf. So this year I really want to focus on more backlist titles. The next question is to share 3 of my most anticipated books that are coming out this year. So the first one is obviously Funny Story by Emily Henry, and just the other day I got an ARC of this book through my work because I work at an independent bookstore, so we often get ARCs from the publishers, and so I was able to take the ARC home. I left my book downstairs, but I do have it, I promise. But obviously I'm very excited about that because I love Emily Henry. I don't even remember what the synopsis is. I know the main character is a librarian, which is very intriguing to me as someone who's studying to be a librarian. And I believe it's like her fiance breaks up with her and then starts dating her... No. Her fiance breaks up with her and then starts dating like his high school girlfriend. So she starts fake dating his new girlfriend's ex, something like that. It sounds wild, and I'm just so excited because all of Emily Henry's romances I've given 5 stars, so I don't think this will be any different. And the cover's purple, so like what more could I want? But very excited about that one. Then is a very exciting book, and the cover of it was just revealed today, but that is This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings, otherwise known as Pages of Haley. I am so excited about this book and so proud of Haley. Like, oh my god. I was watching her for so long, and just her like talking about her writing and talking about this book and how excited she was, and then she announced that it was being published and now there's a cover. I am so excited to read it. It's coming out in August, I think, and it's about sapphic vampires. It's gonna be so good. I can just tell. I can just tell, and I can't wait to read everything she ever writes. I think it's gonna be so good. I'm so excited about it. And then finally, of course, we have, I always get the title wrong, Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places. I think that's what it's called, by Claire Kahn. I love Claire Kahn. I've read 2 of her books and I gave them both 5 stars. I believe this is a YA book because her last book was adult, but I think this one's YA, and I know it's like paranormal and it's gonna be queer obviously because all of her books are queer, but aside from that I don't know much about this book, but I'm very excited because it's Claire Kahn and her writing just works so well for me. I love her book so much. The next question is which goals did I not reach last year? So like I mentioned, I did not read 100 books last year. I think I read 81, which is also such an unsatisfying number, but yeah. So I was 19 books short, so I didn't even come close or anything. So this year I'm gonna do it. But another goal I had last year was to read more ebooks, and I only read 3 out of 81. And I know like it's always gonna happen where most of the books I read will be physical reads because I just love reading a book physically with the actual book and not the ebook. But I do have a lot of books on my Kindle that I just like, I bought when they were on sale for $1 or $2, and then I just never touch it because it's on my Kindle and I forget it exists. So I do want to get better at reading what's on my Kindle and remembering that I have a Kindle and not always picking up the physical books that I have. So I want to do better than 3 this year. That would be good. So the next question is interesting. It's, are there any new releases that are coming out this year that you're not interested in? I had to really think about what was coming out this year because I feel like I'm never up to date with like new releases. I'll hear about the books that authors I know are coming out with, but aside from that I am not usually familiar with what's coming out, like unless it's like in the next couple of weeks or something. But I was looking at like Goodreads lists of anticipated releases, and the only books that I feel like are probably pretty hyped that I'm not super interested in, the first one is Somewhere Beyond the Sea. Is that what it's called? Yes, Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune, which is the sequel to House in the Cerulean Sea, which I love that book. It's one of my favorite books. But TJ Klune has really been disappointing me lately because his book after House in the Cerulean Sea, which was Under the Whispering Door, like I mean, I didn't dislike it, but it was really just so meh to me. I think I gave it 3 stars. Like it didn't have any of the magic that House in the Cerulean Sea had. And then In the Lives of Puppets I DNF'd pretty early on because it just was not interesting me whatsoever. It felt so cheesy, like way more cheesy than his other books. So I don't know if I'll read the sequel to House on the Cerulean Sea, and I don't think it needs a sequel, so I don't know. I'm not super excited about it. If I hear that it's good, maybe I'll pick it up, we'll see. And then the other book, which like I am not gonna promise that I won't pick this up, it's just like I don't know why. Well, actually I do know why, but the book is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, and the reason I'm nervous about it is that I did not like Ninth House very much, and I worry about anything she writes that's not part of the Grishaverse. I mean, I've only read, like, have I actually ever liked a Leigh Bardugo book? Not really. Because all I've read were Shadow and Bone, what's the second one? Siege and Storm, and Ninth House, and none of those books were above a 3-star for me. So I know, like, I'm sure one day I'll read Six of Crows and I will love it, but I haven't actually liked any of her books yet. So that makes me a little nervous to read, what is it called? The Familiar? But we'll see. But if I hear like really good reviews about it, then I'll probably give into the hype and pick it up. So I won't promise that I won't read it, but I don't know, when she announced it, I wasn't like super excited about it like everyone else was. The next question is, what are some reading habits that I want to change this year? And I feel like I say this every single time I do this tag, but I want to, first of all, I want to read every day. It could be even a page or listening to a minute of an audiobook a day. I want to feel like I'm making progress towards my reading goal for the year, and I want to be working on that every single day. Some days I'll read 100 pages. Some days I'll maybe even read 200 pages. Other days, if I only read 1 page, that's still bringing me closer to my reading goal. So I want to read every single day. So far I've done it, but we're only like 20 something days into the year, so it's not that impressive, but I want to read every single day this year. And my other habit that I want to change, which again, I say this every year, I want to read more during the mornings and the daytime, because I often save my reading for the end of the day at night after I'm done everything else I want to do. Then I'll read a couple chapters at night, but then I'm tired and then I want to go to sleep. Like, that's probably why I don't reach my reading goal, is because in my brain it's like, well, I have to save reading for the end of the day, but I don't actually have to do that. I can read during the day. Like, a couple weeks ago I woke up and I decided to just read in the morning, and I was like, this is great. Like, and I know Jan does this all the time. She wakes up at like 3 a.m. to read like 800 chapters. And that's how she reads like 800 books a year. So I want to be more like Jan, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I want to read in the mornings and the daytime when the sun is out, and not just nighttime when I'm tired. Okay, next is, are there any adaptations that I'm excited about? And again, I was looking this up and there's not really anything that like I'm like super excited about. Again, the past few years I feel like there were, like last year I was really excited about Daisy Jones, the year before it was Heartstopper, and now like I mean Heartstopper season 3, maybe it'll come out this year, but we don't have a release date, so that's not for sure. But if that does come out this year, then obviously very excited about that. And then the second Dune movie, I guess, I'm excited about. I haven't read the book, but I did enjoy the first movie. It was very confusing, but I loved the vibes. I loved the cinematography. Like, it was technically a stunning film. And I loved Denis Villeneuve also, like Quebec represent, and obviously Timothée Chalamet. I love him too. So I'm excited about that, but there is not really any announced adaptations that I'm like, like, I don't know, maybe there will be, we'll see. Okay, I think my ring light overheated, so if things look a little different, that's why. But I was about to start talking about my favorite bookish memory of the year, which is obviously Amanda's wedding, which happened in August. I mean, there are no words. This was such like an amazing trip for me. I think it was definitely the highlight of my year. It just felt so like cathartic to be around so many of my bookish friends. A lot of them I was meeting for the first time, and a few of them I had met back in May when I was in New Jersey for the Taylor Swift concert. I'd met Rachel, Amanda, Jess, and Christine for the first time, and then I saw them all again at Amanda's wedding. I got to meet Mo, I got to meet Sarah, I got to meet Jayla, I got to meet Noelle. I got to meet Catherine, and I got to meet Sasha for the first time. Sasha was one of my first booktube friends. It's the first time the Whiners were all together for the first time, and speaking of the Whiners, we might be making a comeback, so stay tuned for that. But it was just such a fun time. It was so nice to celebrate Amanda at her wedding, and she looked beautiful. And oh my god, it was so much fun. I think about the car ride that me and Sasha and her husband had very fondly. We were in the car 16 hours there, 16 hours back. It was so chaotic, but so much fun, and I just think back on those few days like with a huge smile on my face. It was just the best. It was the best. I love seeing bookish friends. It just makes me so happy that I started this channel. I'm gonna get emotional. It just makes me so happy that I started this channel because I would not have met those people if it weren't for this. Me just sitting in my room talking to my camera. Like, it's so weird, but I'm just very, very thankful that I got to meet all these lovely, lovely people. And yeah, it was so fun. So that's definitely the highlight of my year, was Amanda's wedding, obviously. And I'm hoping I get to see all of them again one day somewhere at another wedding. Someone else get married, please. Thank you. And then the last question is, were there any carryovers from last year that I plan on finishing this year? And there was only one book that I was still currently reading into the new year, and that was the 100 Years War on Palestine. And I had started listening to this, I think it was the end of November, but I got it through my library and then my hold ran out, and then it took forever for my hold to come back, which I mean is good because I got it through my school library, so that means a lot of people in my school wanted to read this book, so that made me happy. But I was in the middle of it, but I actually just got my hold back, so I started listening to that again the other day, and so I will be finishing that hopefully soon. But that's the only book that I started in 2023 that I haven't finished yet. So yeah, that is the January book tag. I'm not gonna tag specific people, so if you want to do this tag, then I tag you. And thank you to Jan again for creating this tag. I love you, Jan. I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. for you. But yeah, let me know some of your goals for 2024. What was your first read this year? Let me know anything you want. I don't know, just comment something. If you watch till the end, leave a bat emoji because it's Jan we're talking about, so leave a bat for Jan. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon with another video soon. Bye!